Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here. And can we give a round of applause for Jen, who's walking away? But no, truly, I live basically down the street in Borum Hill. Jen invites me to, casual dinners and casual catch-up calls over Zoom to just brainstorm all these things. And lo and behold, you throw this incredible event. I had no idea how big this would be, how amazing this group of people would be here. I'm already learning a ton, and I can't wait to engage with so many more of you. But I'm here to talk to you about a number of things, but unsurprisingly, we're going to talk about AI. So why I'm here, I think why Jen invited me here, is I have been a two-time CMO, Series A to Series D. I've seen what it feels like to build from the ground up. And then I made the crazy decision to go big. ServiceNow, 1,500 marketers, 5,500 sellers, dozens of AI tools, some we love, some not so much, Copilot. But I was brought on because there was actually no strategy or governance at all in place. But the reality was there was no slowing down. So when I came on in January, we had just about 10% daily active usage on generative AI tools, which is crazy to imagine. We brought on Claude wall to wall for all 30,000 people and all the GTM folks, and then we skyrocketed. I like to take a little bit of credit for that because we've done a good job the past 3 months. But let's be real, the AI does a lot of the work itself too. The models have just gotten so good, so things started skyrocketing. But the question is, what are we learning along the way? And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. When you operate at scale like ours, the amazing thing is you learn faster than I ever had the chance to learn as a CMO. Because when you have tens of thousands of people giving you feedback, you, for better or worse, have to learn really freaking quickly. And I'm gonna give you the cheat code. I'm going to tell you what we've learned in those few months as we scale to tens of thousands of people using AI daily, running it at the core of everything we do in GTM. First, outcomes and outcome maxing is way better and more important than token maxing. Two, the taste we bring as humans is actually more important than the tech. And third, the systems that we build are more important than the side quests we let people pursue. I'm going to go one by one, and I'm going to bring this to life for you. So anybody remember this? Not too many. I guess I'm a tech geek, AI geek. So what happened was, yeah, you remember, Jen. I thought some of you would be proud because you were on this list. This was at their dev day at OpenAI. Ham Altman got on stage and celebrated the top token users by name, by company. And then the internet went wild. People started celebrating all of their token usage. 1 billion, 100 billion, 1 trillion. I mean, these are Dr. Evil numbers. These don't even make sense. And it was great. I mean, I loved it. I loved the energy. And even the Wall Street Journal started writing about how token maxing was the thing that was critical to survival. But the tides have changed very quickly. If you've been following the press since then, the Uber CTO was the first to call this out, and then there's been a wave of press talking about our Claude budgets and AI budgets are going through the roof. And it started a very important conversation. What is the ROI of all these investments we're making? And when you get to the scale of ServiceNow, when you're spending a Hamptons house every month in token usage, you start to actually look at the bottom line. And so we introduced a new mantra as of just a month ago at ServiceNow. We token responsibly. And I'm going to tell you how we think about that. Now, first of all, the goal for me here isn't to educate you one-on-one. I can give you tips all day on how to do this as individuals. Start a new chat, use MD files and not PowerPoints, switch models. All of that's really important. And we're going through and we're educating our teams on doing that. But what I want to level set you with is the organizational principles. And each time we go into one of these themes, I'm going to give you a simple framework. And then I'm going to give you an example of how we're doing it. So here, I'm just going to tell you 3 things. Input, output, outcome. This is very important for AI, but I would argue this is important for anything you do as, honestly, not even just GTM professionals, in anything you do in the business. Inputs are things like tokens. They're activity metrics. Worth tracking, but that's not what matters. What matters a little bit more is the output. What is the work we're actually producing from them? But when it really push comes to shove, the only thing your CFO, your board, and your business cares about is the outcome. And as much as we like to dance around it, I'm a marketer by trade. I market the shit out of outcomes all the time. But let's be very real. If you're a business owner, there's only two things that matter, truly. Revenue, are we putting money in the piggy bank? And cost savings, are we keeping money in, are we keeping it there? That's really all that matters to a CFO. And we can dance around it, we can tell nice narratives, but at the end of the day, every single investment, including AI, is going to come down to these two things. So I'm going to tell you how we're thinking about it. What we're not doing is publicly celebrating token maxing charts. I have all this data. I know exactly how much every single user at ServiceNow is actually spending on AI. But that's not the goal. That's not what we celebrate. What we actually focus on is the outcomes and the impact. So on every single team, and I'm showing you the Marcom numbers because I live and breathe this every day. We also support the sellers in GTM org. We have a $25 million goal of AI impact in the organization. And then we have AI value leads on every single sub-team and department, from digital to global comms to brand and everywhere in between, that monthly report all the activities and the impact that is aligned on with finance on what that impact is. Now, this takes effort, this takes energy, it takes ownership, but this is where it's going to have to go. So I'd rather you guys learn from our mistakes by letting the spend run roam free and start thinking about this now rather than when it's too late and your CFO says, hey, can you stop spending so much money on AI? So we have a product for this. It's called AI Control Tower. That's not the goal here. I want you all to come up with your own AI Control Tower. You can do this in a spreadsheet if you want. But the key is to start thinking in outcomes. The second thing is taste over tech. So let me tell you what I mean. How many of you have seen a post like this on the web? Like literally every day, right? I replaced my team with blah, blah, blah. I like the second part a little bit more. Because that is my experience. I have automated all the workflows I could. I've been there, I've done that. We did it at ServiceNow. I did it in my previous company. And the reality is you can tell when someone just pressed the button and spit out the same shit. Because here's what happens. And there's model providers. I love you guys. I spend a shit ton of money with you guys. But let's be real. If you don't infuse taste and judgment, at best, you're going to get scaled mediocrity. You have all these brilliant people, all these brilliant GTM motions, all the things you learn, and then you have a BDR or a seller go in and say, hey, type me this email. Or, hey, I'm going to a meeting with Starbucks. What do I say? If you don't have the taste and judgment built in, or those people, you're not giving them the resources to do that, it's all going to sound the same. But at worst, and in reality, it's actually weaponized slop. Here's what that means. I'm borrowing this from the internet. Dan Hockenmeyer put me on this, but the bottom, you see the judgment scale on the x-axis. No judgment, good judgment. On the y-axis, no AI, using AI. The bottom left are people with bad judgment that don't use AI. And as hard it is to read out loud, in 2026, they are dead weight. Fire them. I'm sorry, it's true. But it's even worse when you supercharge those people with AI, because then they become slop cannons. They make life harder for all of us and ruin our LinkedIn feeds. But there is a flip side to it, right? You go to the right, imagine someone with good judgment and AI. Now you've turbocharged everyone. That's the principle we've tried to adopt. The taste is the alpha. Now, Doug told me to define this a little bit, because it's true. These are complicated. I could do a whole dissertation and TED Talk on just taste and alpha. Alpha is your differentiator, right? If you're not in finance, it's a buzzy word now on the internet, but what is your differentiator? Taste, we can debate. Some of you probably have better taste than me. You look great. Yeah, sequins are always in. But organizational taste, to me, comes down to one simple thing. It's your point of view. Do you have a point of view? Or are you just borrowing ChatGPTs or Claudes? Your point of view is what makes things unique. Now, a lot of things feed a point of view. Your brand story, your brand voice and tone, what you know about your customers and prospects. It might be the unique elements of your product positioning or your product itself. All of that feeds into your unique POV, but that's your taste, and that is going to be your differentiator. And this is a visual I show my team. I keep it on my desktop, and I show anyone I talk to. Because where we started with AI, and unfortunately where a lot of people are still starting, is you think you go to a system and a person presses a button and then it does all the rest of the work. That does not create great marketing or great go-to-market motions. You actually need to infuse taste and judgment throughout. Now that is harder, yes, but that's what actually makes this work worth doing. And notice what I love about this visual that really speaks to us at ServiceNow is you have humans at the beginning and at the end. Always. In the GTM stack, we refuse to just allow people to press a button and automate everything. It's really important for us for taste and judgment to be in the process. Yeah. Woo! Humans matter. Yeah. And I'll give you a quick principle how we think about it. We talk about it as good, healthy friction. Friction built in as a feature, not a bug, is a good thing. And I'm going to show you one example. I want to make this real for you. You saw AI Control Tower and how we do the value storytelling. I'm going to show you just one example of dozens we have that we're bringing this idea of friction to life. We call this an agent we built called Ask the Buyer. And it's a bit more complicated than that, but let's call it a front end and an agent and a bunch of data in the background. And the idea was simple. We have 4 very clearly defined buying groups at ServiceNow. We sell into CRM, we sell into finance and security, we sell into, I can't believe I keep saying finance. I did it as a joke to make fun of them. We said it's a security and finance, we sell into HR. I'm not the guy that says finance, especially here on this stage. We're judged forever. But we built a tool that allows every person in the company, whether you're in marketing or sales, to ask the question, hey, what does our buyer actually care about? It's built on all the data we've collected over 20 years of selling at ServiceNow, but also a partnership we have with a company called Evidenza, who, if you guys don't know, they do synthetic persona mapping and building. They're really good at what they do. I didn't believe in synthetic personas until I met with them, but they are doing incredible work that allows you to get smarter about every decision. So let's just quickly look at what that looks like. You see our buying group here is going to get visualized. Patty from IT, Jim from CRM, Kate from HR, Taylor from security. We've literally created characters out of them, which I love. I wish I could take credit for that. Our CMO and brand team are great. And then we created a resource that allows anyone to talk to Patty. If I want to go and ask Patty a question about what does the IT buyer care about right now, for example, what are their priorities in AI? It's not going to spit out a generic web answer when you ask this question. It's actually our proprietary data, including all the account and sales data that we know. It's taking into account all of our knowledge and taste and judgment and giving our sellers and marketers the answer. Where it gets really fun is then you can actually do message testing. So in this example, this is real. This is something we were working on the marketing team for the Wall Street Journal, and we built in a mechanism to score on relevance, differentiation, credibility, humanity, and alignment to our product messaging houses. And it gives you examples of how to fix things. It even allows you, as you see in a moment, to compare different personas of Patty, because we all know when we sell, there's some folks that are more innovative, some that are more compliance-driven, some that are more cost-driven. And so you can enter the Pattyverse and watch them actually debate and read. Because think about it, you're a seller going into a meeting. You have no idea what the mindset might be of that individual. Imagine preparing every single seller and every GTM professional with the ability to predict what might happen in the room. That was the vision for Ask the Buyer. You saw that in a front-end experience we used for demos. We actually house that in a central repository, so you can access that via Claude, via Copilot, anything. So that's the idea of infusing taste and judgment and friction, right? Notice what didn't happen. You didn't press a button and ship. We purposely build it in a way so people can learn and interact and actually infuse their own decisions in everything we're building. And the final one, systems over side quests. Jen brought this up extremely well. We talked about this a lot, even months ago. The way we approached AI at first was the idea of everyone builds, and you've been hearing this from other speakers. It's great in theory, but we have to be on the receiving end of all of that crap that's being built. So it creates random acts of AI everywhere, conflicting skills and agents, duplicate work, wasted effort. The number of times throughout a week I get someone pitching me a replacement to Monday is laughable. It's like, dude, we have a project management solution. And so the simple mantra is just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? That's what I say throughout. I'm going to give you one framework to think about it. Again, simple frameworks, hopefully they resonate. Impact, feasibility. If something is high impact and it's feasible, feasibility meaning the tech today, the data can allow us to do it, we prioritize it. If something is low impact and low feasibility, this is a little fun. We pilot. We don't prevent people from trying to do it. We let them test and tinker. Ask the Buyer actually started that way. We didn't know it was going to be feasible to put that in the hands of everyone. We let the brand team and research team experiment, and then we elevated it up. And then finally, and the third, this is where it gets a little more complicated. Something's high impact but low feasibility. Story, my CMO came to me 3 months ago and said, hey, I want all decks in Claude. All deck building in Claude. Great idea. Claude cannot do that. But we didn't shut the idea down. We said, okay, we're going to staff someone to it, and there's someone on the brand team that right now is looking, trying Gamma, trying Claude design, learning so we can be ready for what's next. And then the last one, I want you guys to guess what it would be. Low feasibility, low impact, what do you do? Kill that shit, deprioritize. It's a bit of a forced P, but you got to prioritize, pilot, plan, and deprioritize. So simple framework, what that's led us to, I won't have time to go deep on this today with you all. I'm happy to talk about it. We basically have top down 5 key priorities. We're putting all of our wood behind these arrows. Market intelligence, you just saw Ask the Buyer. AI-powered content generation, AI-powered pipeline creation, things like AISDR, Zoom info integrations, making it easier for sellers and BDRs, analytics and decisions intelligence, and AI-optimized context and grounding engine. And this one, given the room, I thought would be the most interesting to talk about. Some of the other speakers have been alluding to this. We are actively building this brain for everything that we do in Marcom and sales. All our GTM users, sales, product marketing, field and campaign managers, connected to our buyer insights, our brand guidelines, our product messaging houses, all of that feeding into one place, served up into every other interface. And I want to show you what that enables. Just one quick example of very many. We have someone in APAC that says, hey, I need to grow pipeline. And this is a real story. This is an actual example. We were behind on CRM pipeline in ANZ banking. And she said, we need to do something, ANZ, Australia, New Zealand. And so this is an example of what this AI content generator powered by Nucleus can be. You go in, you say, I need to grow CRM pipeline in banking, as I said. It does a few things. 1, it pulls in account insights from Snowflake and other sources. 2, it's going to go and pull in Ask the Buyer and Evidenza research because we know what buying group we're selling to here. 3rd, it's going to pull in the messaging houses. It's going to make sure it's tailored into everything we're talking about. And then it creates a plan. The campaign objective, the campaign type. It even tells you that you should think about doing a workshop for 17 target accounts we have in the region. All of that pulled into one front end. And then it prompts you to generate. It's going to start giving you a messaging anchor idea. What should we message? The recommended proof points, even the workshop positioning. You see there, banking CRM, that actually works. And it says, okay, for these 17 accounts, we can run a workshop in the region. And now I'm going to help you generate the assets to make that work. You go into generation mode. It does a lot of thinking behind the scenes, and it starts creating the assets. Again, always as a campaign package, as a first pass, pre-event comms, social media, post-event nurture sequences, you name it. It takes you through absolutely all of this. It even and gives you, landing page copy. It's going to give you email drafts. I'm going to cut it short for time, but I can keep showing you that as it goes and goes. The idea is it presents every single seller, whether they're sitting in APAC or the US close to HQ, with grounded, relevant, real-time insights to help them make the decision, right? Again, none of that was with a press a button and ship. It is now onto that leader, the seller, the GTM professional to make the decision on what they use and actually send to prospects. So 3 things that I wanted to leave you with, but I wanted to just touch on one last one as a parting word of advice and what I've learned. Anyone found themselves in this type of moment? Midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., Jen blew up my spot in the post for me. She said, oh, he was telling me about how he was up till 4 a.m. vibe coding before my dinner. Every one of us thinks we can just beat GPT into submission with that one last prompt. I'll get it to do what I want. But here's the reality, and you heard this from some other speakers. Work is just intensifying. Elena Verna said it best. You probably follow her. If AI makes you 10x productive, no one's coming over and saying, hey, why don't you enjoy the rest of the day? Why don't you enjoy the weekend? So it's up to each and every one of you to remember who's in control. I have a policy with my wife in our household. We literally say laptops down. We literally at 11 or 12 midnight, we say laptops down. And even if I'm about to hit, yes, I mean, I'm still working a lot. If I'm about to hit another enter, we say laptops down's closed because guess what? ChatGPT and Claude will be there the next morning. So I just leave that with you. We're doing all this great work. We're building a bunch of cool shit. Just remember to take care of yourselves and prioritize your own mental sanity. Thank you for having me. I look forward to building with all of you.